It's been an extremely busy day of NHL news here on June 30th, the eve before NHL free agent frenzy. Today, we're going to recap all the latest rumors of trades we may still see here as we get into the really busy part of the offseason. Today's trade rumors focus on teams like the St. Louis Blues, the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Edmonton Oilers. We've got a bunch of other trades and signings that have happened here today. We do have some other videos on our channel, but we'll recap a lot of the other news, including the latest stuff that Patrick Kane is staying with the Detroit Red Wings. Alex Pietrangelo's career appears to be over. A big statement just came out from the Vegas Golden Knights. Plus, we're going to recap all the other big items here today coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, it's been an extremely busy day of NHL news. There was a point this afternoon where some of us were saying that just everything is happening here all at once, to quote the late, great Bob Cole. So let's go. We're going to recap some of the stuff that happened earlier, and then we'll get into the kind of the meaty part here of the video where the new stuff. So essentially, we saw Joe Veleno and Connor Shea was on waivers yesterday. They cleared, so the Veleno buyout in Seattle is a done deal. Connor Shea's contract with the Lightning officially terminated. Both will be unrestricted free agents, able to sign contracts tomorrow. The Edmonton Oilers today signed a bunch of people, including Noah Phillip, 1 year, 2-way deal. Kasperi Kapanen, 1 year, $1.3 million. And the big one, Evan Bouchard, the Bouch Bomb, gets a big Bouch bag of money, 4 years at $10.5 million. That is a lot of dough. He better be delivering a lot of Bouch bombs to earn that contract. The Boston Bruins also signed a bunch of people today, including defenseman Henry Jokiharju, 3 years at $3 million. Michael DiPietro, 2 years, $812,000. Johnny Beecher, 1 year, $900K. And of course, late last night, they signed Morgan Geekie to a 6-year deal at $5.5 million. So the Bruins have been quite busy. The Sabres signed Jack Rathbone, who was scheduled to be a Group 6 UFA, 2-year deal at $800K. The Avalanche are bringing back Sam Malinski, 1 year at $1.4, will be a UFA next year. The Panthers are keeping the band back together, as we've been saying. To be honest, I thought Ekblad was probably going to end up leaving, but I did have confidence that Bennett and Marchand would stay. But they managed to keep all three. Ekblad signs an 8-year deal at $6.1 million. Didn't think that was going to be possible. I really didn't think they'd want to go 8 years on a player like Ekblad. I mean, he's a great defenseman, but his body's been beaten up and battered, had some serious injuries. I do have concerns over the term, but I think at this point, Florida's looking at it like they don't really care what happens, maybe 4, 5, 6, 8 years down the road. They're probably looking at the next couple of years trying to, win Cup 3 or 4 or whatever. And after that, they probably don't care, to be honest. Marchand's contract's even more confusing, getting a 6-year deal, total value of $32 million, giving him a cap hit at $525. Like, a 6-year deal for a 37-year-old is absolutely insane. I do have another video on the channel recapping the signings with more details. I'm just kind of recapping here now in case you missed it earlier. So if you haven't seen that video or you want more of my thoughts on these contracts, check out the other video from earlier tonight when you're done with this one. Alexander Romanov and New York Islanders organization gets a long 8-year deal as well, $6.25 million. We got the Washington Capitals have signed Declan Chisholm, 2 years at $1.6 million. The Red Wings are bringing back Jonathan Berggren. No surprise there. 1 year at $8.25 or $1.825 million. Sorry, not $8 million. $1.825. The Ottawa Senators signed a pair of players in their organization. They signed RFA goaltender Levi Merilainen. 1 year, 1-way deal, $1.05 million. So he is expected to be the backup now to Linus Ullmark, considering they paid him a 1-way contract, being, 22 years old. That pretty much, I think, brings an end to the Anton Forsberg era with the Senators. They also are bringing back Nick Cousins, who signs a 1-year deal to stay with the Senators at $825,000. He was pretty good on their fourth line last year when he was able to play. He did have a knee injury, kept him out for a while, but down the stretch and into the playoffs especially, he was pretty effective, and that's a pretty cheap contract. Low risk for Ottawa on that one. The Maple Leafs are bringing back fourth liner Steven Lorentz. Gets a 3-year contract at $1.35 million. Pretty low risk on that one as well. We've had a few more signings that came in later as well. Kuzmenko is staying in LA. 1-year deal at 4.3. Ivan Provorov gets a long-term deal in Columbus, 7 years at $8.5 million. That's a big one as well. And then we've got another deal, the latest one that came in that I haven't talked about in another video yet, is Patrick Kane. Kane, just like last year, signs right before free agency a 1-year bonus-laden deal with the Detroit Red Wings, gets a $3 million salary and up to $4 million in performance-related bonuses. $2.5 million are linked to games played, and the remaining $1.5 million in bonuses are linked to playoff success. So there's so much bonuses for winning each round. The playoff bonuses, I believe, are 20, 30, 40, and 60 games played. So Kane, similar deal to before. Obviously, I could earn up to $7 million in total on this contract. It's unlikely he will, but for him to get up to, at least 5 or 5.5 or something like that is pretty reasonable. So obviously, he wanted to remain in Detroit and continue building with what they've been doing there the last couple of years. Hopefully things will get better for the Red Wings for this year. So that's kind of a pretty good, very quickly, mind you, recap of what went down for signings earlier. We've had some trades today, in case you didn't know. In case you've been living under a rock, Mitch Marner is now a Vegas Golden Knight. The sign-and-trade deal that's been speculated between the Leafs and the Golden Knights finally took place earlier, sending Mitch to Vegas on an 8-year contract at $12 million a season. Of course, that he signs with the Leafs and gets moved for Nikolai Waugh. So Waugh goes back to Toronto, $3 million contract, pretty good number 3 center. So at least they get something in return, better than having him walk for nothing. And he gets the 8th year in Vegas, which up until like yesterday, it was rumored that he wasn't even looking for. So we'll be curious to see here. I know there's been a lot of rumors about tampering. I don't know if anything's going to come from that or not. I know Chris Johnson on TSN was saying that the belief is that some people within the Leafs think that Marner and Vegas had like a backhanded kind of deal about a year ago for him to go to them as a free agent this summer. So we know Vegas has tried to trade for Toronto on multiple occasions and has not been able to be successful. This was their third time's a charm, I guess, attempt here. But yeah, and the other part of this is that Marner refused to negotiate with Toronto all year long. So, they had a feeling that something was up with Vegas, and he wouldn't talk to them all year about a contract. So it just made them suspicious. I honestly have no clue if they have any proof. But what CJ is saying is that that's kind of what people think within the Leafs organization. Whether or not they file a complaint or pursue anything, I don't know. I know Elliot Friedman's report yesterday seemed to believe that if they pulled off a trade, that there would be less likely to be a complaint from the Leafs side of it. But it doesn't mean that the Leafs, or the league, could initiate their own investigation, which I don't know if they will do or not. Only time will tell. Some other trades that took place today. We saw the Detroit Red Wings trade Vladimir Tarasenko, his full contract, $4.25 million, 4.25 to Minnesota for nothing for future considerations. I don't get that at all. I mean, from Detroit's perspective, I get it. He wasn't a good fit there. They want some cap space. They want to do other things. That's great. Okay, then they moved it, and they didn't have to pay anybody this time. Imagine that. Yzerman, who had to pay to get rid of Jake Wallman last year, managed to get rid of Tarasenko this year and didn't have to add a sweetener. Congratulations, Yzerman. You finally are getting better at your job. It's good to see. So, but why does Minnesota want him at this price? I don't quite understand. That, to me, I found confusing, but we'll see what happens. I know he obviously... there seems to be like a connection between him and Kaprizov. I know the Wild were posting some stuff. I mean, I get they're both Russian and all that, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. Tarasenko has not been the same player the past couple of years. Is he still useful? Yes, to some degree, but his production just isn't quite the same what it used to be. So I don't know that really makes sense for them, but we'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Toronto acquired Matias Macelli today from the Utah Mammoth. I think this is a good bet by the Leafs. He has 1 year left on his contract at $3.4 million. They give up a conditional 3rd round pick that improves to a 2nd rounder if Macelli hits 51 points and the Leafs make the playoffs. So, if he doesn't get back to his old standard that he did in Arizona, The last year they were a Coyotes team before they moved to Utah. He had a phenomenal season and really took off. He really was progressing well as a good playmaking winger, racking up a lot of assists, put up 50 points. And then last year things kind of fell off. I'm not sure what happened exactly. Fell out of favor, and it's time for a fresh start. I mean, to me, it's one of those, depreciating assets you buy low and think you can rehabilitate it, and it's a good bet. He's still young. Obviously, Marner, he's not going to be Mitch Marner. They're not going to be able to replace Mitch Marner. That's just not even have a conversation about replacing Marner. The odds of you finding a 100-point forward to replace that is not happening. But they're going to have a different looking team, probably more balanced team, more by committee type of approach, and he could help. He could be one of those players. If he puts up 50 points and another guy comes in and puts up 50 points, they didn't have those guys before. Maybe you're kind of coming close to having a similar offensive output. So that's kind of the hope here, and it's a low price to pay. So I like the deal, and I like the risk, for the Maple Leafs on that scenario. The Habs also traded number 3 goaltender Primeau tonight. Once upon a time looked upon as being the goalie of the future, has fallen out of favor. I think at one point the team felt like they couldn't trust him anymore at the NHL level. He went down to the minors, played well. His AHL numbers have still been good. Dufour came up and kind of took the spot and ran with it. I mean, he had some moments where he wasn't looking good either, but generally speaking, the body of work was mostly positive. So I think at this rate, it looks like Dufour is going to have every opportunity to be the backup next year. Of course, they've got Fowler coming, who they now view as the potential, the hope to be the goalie of the future. So we'll see. So Primeau goes to the Carolina Hurricanes, and I suspect he's going to be in a similar boat there to be the number 3. So hopefully he gets things figured out. I mean, a lot of goalies do figure it out later into their 20s. It's a tough position to turn pro into, and you don't often see a lot of young guys figure it out super quick. So hopefully there's still time for him, but Montreal felt the need to move on and put their efforts elsewhere. A few other quick notes around the league as well. That's all we had for trades as I record this. For all I know, there's 2 more blockbuster deals that went down since I started recording, because that's just the way that the day has been. So don't be shocked if you see me popping up on your screen again tonight. But for right now, a couple other quick notes. Lanny McDonald, of course, his last day today, being the chairman at the Hockey Hall of Fame. We know he's played a big role at the selection committee and welcoming new inductees and his role in the committee to determine who gets in and all that. So Lanny McDonald's just really a hockey lifer and just a tremendous person, and he's had his health battles, and certainly want to congratulate Lanny on a great run, not only as a player but his role at the Hockey Hall of Fame, and wish the best in retirement. Pittsburgh today announced they've added Mike Stothers to their coaching staff as an assistant coach, another guy that's bounced around a lot. He has around 30 years experience. He's coached at different levels between the NHL, AHL as an assistant coach. He's been a head coach at different lower levels as well. So seems like a decent addition to the Penguins lineup there as well. The Minnesota Wild today also confirmed that they have a new arena sponsor. So their arena is now going to be called the Grand Casino Arena. So they have a sponsorship change. The naming rights have gone to Grand Casino. So that is now the new name of the Wild's arena. Now, the other big news that broke shortly before I started recording here is we did finally get the clarity on the future of Vegas defenseman Alex Pietrangelo. We have a statement from the player and from the team, and essentially Alex Pietrangelo confirms that his health is really not in a good spot, and that he needs a major surgery, and that his quality of life just isn't good, and his doctors have basically urged him to remove the intensity and physicality of being a professional hockey player, to see if there's hope that his body can recover enough after major surgery to improve his regular everyday quality of life. It's not even about returning to hockey. He said that he feels his odds of recovering enough to return to the game are very low. The surgery that he's expected to have is not even guaranteed to fix his issues and completely make him all better. It's a scenario where it's a surgery that doesn't have a lot of guarantees with it. So he's having a lot of hip issues, and apparently he needs bilateral femur reconstruction. That is a massive surgery and recovery. So obviously, Alex Pietrangelo is 35 years old. He's got 2 years left on his contract at $8.8 million. The team statement said essentially that, the organization wants to support him and certainly, obviously appreciates everything he's put his body through, and that the hope was this year that he took a couple of weeks off, obviously around the Four Nation break, and that they hoped with some rest and some treatment that they could get him to the point that he was, not dealing with so much, and that he could maybe have a better, feel better, essentially. And that they turned out during that phase when he had a break and was doing all that it was more severe than they ever realized. And they just determined that the amount of everything that he had to put his body through just to get ready to play every night is just not sustainable. And it's just not advisable by his doctors to keep it up. He tried to push through to finish the season out, and he did, but it really was not easy for him. And a lot of people behind the scenes obviously would have known just what he was going through on a day-to-day basis just to try to get himself ready to play. He's got a young family. He's got 4 kids. Lots to think about. I mean, his kids are, I think, what are they, a maximum of like 6 years old or so. So, he's got a lot of little ones to think about and got a long life ahead of him in his post-playing career. And if his quality of life is struggling that much, then I think he's doing the right thing here. Sucks for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's a big part of their team. Obviously, but he's got a lot of accomplishments. I mean, look at what he's done in his career. He's been an NHL captain. He's got a Stanley Cup to his name. He's got numerous gold medals from Team Canada appearances at various levels, World Juniors, Olympics. He's done it all. So as much as I'm sure this is a sad for him after 17 years pro, at least he has a lot to look back on, and a lot of fond memories and a lot of major accomplishments. So I hope for Petro's sake that the surgery helps, and I hope that he can get himself to a point where his quality of life is better, so he can enjoy his time with his young kids, and that's pretty important as well. So certainly want to wish him the best, but like he said, he does not expect to recover enough to the point that he will be able to resume playing hockey. So when we've heard that Alex Pietrangelo is likely going on long-term injury reserve for this year, a big chunk of it, I think it's pretty safe to say with this statement that it will be the entire season, and this is not likely going to be something we see where they magically return for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So hopefully, like I said, everything works out for him, that it's at least better quality of life. So it's a big deal there. So on the trade rumor front, lots of things that are still percolating. And like I said, for all I know, while I'm recording, my phone's probably going off with notifications that things are happening here. But a couple things to keep watching for. There's still some talk about Jordan Kyrou in St. Louis. Now, he does have a no trade, no move clause that kicks in tomorrow. So unless something with Kyrou happens here in the next few hours, it's probably not, unless he, of course, agrees to it. But there was still a lot of chatter about Montreal, which to me, I'm still not really sure. I don't think he's completely what they need, but great player, mind you. And you can kind of work around adding a player like that. I don't know what kind of package they would offer to St. Louis, but the belief was the Blues want a center back if they're going to move him. So that's why I don't think Montreal can pull that off. But crazier things have happened. I know with Rasmus Andersson, it seems like we heard that LA has made a big push and tried to trade for him. And the trade package was apparently a really good offer. We don't know what it was, but he would not sign an extension. Apparently, Rasmus Andersson has a small list of teams that he'll consider signing an extension with. It's believed that Vegas is his primary spot he'd like to go to. So if Calgary will trade him there, he will sign. Now, he very well could be an Alex Pietrangelo replacement. He's the right shot defenseman. Can play a similar style of game. Like, I can see them liking him, saying, okay, maybe we look to him to play a similar role like that for us. And time will tell. I mean, they have an awfully tight cap situation after getting Mitch Marner, so I'm not sure how they would figure that out. Next year in free agency would be a lot easier, but Rasmus Andersson has been linked to a few other teams. I know apparently the Senators, which to me doesn't make sense, but Ottawa has been linked, as well as like Columbus and a few other teams. But right now, Andersson has rejected a trade to LA because he wouldn't sign an extension, and the belief is he would prefer to go to Vegas. So we'll see about that. Teams apparently are poking around goalie Jonas Korpisalo out of Boston. after they signed Pietrangelo, who has been a pretty good number 3. And obviously, at a point where they thought, there was a lot of people thought Boston might not sign him, that he might opt to go into, try to get into free agency and try to find another better opportunity, right? But now there's some thinking maybe that opportunity could come with the Bruins and that maybe they move Korpisalo. I know Korpisalo kind of complained about his playing time last year. Obviously, Swayman's going to get the bulk of the start, so I'm not sure if they can figure that out, but do look for a potential Korpisalo deal. Hard to say if it comes together. That's something to keep your eyes on. The Edmonton Oilers are apparently rumored to be in a variety of trades. We're hearing there could be deals coming as early as tonight, which I haven't seen yet. But the night's not over, as we know. Adam Henrique and Victor Arvidsson are both expected to be dealt by the Oilers. At this point, it also looks like Corey Perry and Connor Brown are both going to be testing free agency. I wouldn't completely rule out a return to Edmonton, but it's going to be tougher to do with some of the other deals and signings they've made, unless these trades free up enough money that maybe that helps them figure it out. With goaltending, there's still been no updates. We've seen a lot of other goalies that could have been linked to the Oilers kind of resolve their situations. Thatcher Demko at this point is expected to sign in Vancouver. John Gibson's already been traded. There's not as much out there. Some are wondering about Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Buffalo, if that could be an option for the Oilers to talk to Kevin Adams for about a trade. Again, they've got Devin Levi on the way up. Is it time to move UPL? So that's something to look at there. And a lot of people are wondering about the Penguins. This is probably not so much for now, more for later into the NHL season, maybe at the deadline. But where it is expected to be Evgeny Malkin's last year in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's not expected to be a good team this year, could we see Malkin be moved? I would suspect he's going to have some say over that. I know Kyle Dubas today did say that he wouldn't completely close the door on offering Malkin another extension, but the words are from behind the scenes through the grapevine that they have no intention of doing that. So could Evgeny Malkin be a player that we see maybe on the move a little bit later into the season? And K-Andre Miller still getting attention, still remains unsigned by the Rangers. There's some speculation that Detroit is interested. If things drag on for a bit, they can't figure out a trade. I wouldn't be shocked if they contemplate an offer sheet. It seems like the Rangers with Miller and Will Cooley might be one of the teams that are susceptible to this, but again, we'll see how quickly they get their guys looked after. But Miller is a name to watch for sure. We do expect him to be dealt, and it could, if it doesn't come together though, an offer sheet certainly could be an option. But some activity there is still something that I expect to see. So let me know your thoughts. Of course, if there's more activity tonight, some of this may not be relevant anymore, so hurry up and watch this video before things change, and I'll be back more if there's more trades. And otherwise, we'll be into lots of talk tomorrow around free agency, so stay tuned. I'll be here with all kinds of updates as the day goes. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.